Hello, my name's Manjot Singh. I'm lead enterprise architect at MariaDB. You may have seen me in one of the training for migration videos. In the migration training, we talked about the assessment process that should be done before the migration process begins. Well, let's talk about the practical application and how to actually go through the migration questionnaire and run our migration assessment tool and examine results. So if we take a look at our migration inventory, at the questionnaire, we'll put in the company name, MariaDB, and the primary contact, Manjot Singh, and we'll say this project is an Oracle to MariaDB migration process. What we want to do is use MariaDB, and for a change in approval process, well, we want to make sure that my boss Austin approves. So we'll say ask Austin. Monitoring tools in use, we use SQL DM. And configuration management, well, we're not going to use any for this project, so we'll put NA. So these questions are very important, as I mentioned in the migration training, because this is where we learn about our business use cases and what our migration team will need to understand before they begin moving to MariaDB. So let's take a look at the next part of the questionnaire. Our application name. In this case, we're just going to do one application. It's called Sea Lion. And this application has a catalog of sea creatures. It's sitting on appdb01.mariadb.com. And our schema database is called sealion_db. Our workload type, in this case, this is an OLTP app. Specifically, it's high read. So we'll take a look at our legacy database. It's Oracle. And we do have the source code available because of our commitment to open source. The development team is available, specifically me. And the app language is PHP. You can hate on me later for that one. The abstraction ORM, we're not using one. And the application server is Nginx. Other applications or APIs receiving data affecting these schemas. Well, we don't have any, so we'll put NA. But in this case, what we would normally say is, this application could be providing data to another API. It could be providing data to a third party, for example. Other applications or APIs sending data affecting these schemas. Well, yes, we have a Sea Creatures API that sends information to us. So we'll call it Sea Creatures API. Known high loads. Well, every Friday our sales team gets excited and takes a look at this app. So we'll put Friday afternoons, Eastern. And migration uptime. Well, we want to make sure we're not down during this migration, especially not on Fridays. So we'll say downtime up to 1 hour. High availability and disaster recovery requirements. We want to make sure that this application is 99.9% up. So that means we don't want more than maybe 5 hours of downtime. Recovery time objective. How long until we're recovered? So you can take a look at some of our disaster recovery videos to learn more about this. We want to say we want to be up within 2 hours. Recovery point objective, how much data can we lose? Well, we don't want to lose anything on our sea creatures, so we'll say 0. In practicality, it's usually about 5 minutes, even with great disaster recovery technology. Load balancing. We want to make sure that we do a read-write split. Our backup product will be MariaDB Enterprise Backup. Moving away from Oracle RMAN. And actually, we should write what we're using right now. And this is going to be a physical backup, so we should say physical. Our product owner, again, this is Austin. And our database administrator is me. Our developers, me. And again, this helps us to understand who our stakeholders are for this application. Some of our customers have NDA doc numbers. They may use some other tooling or scripting, and there's audit and compliance requirements that could be there. In this case, we'll say we have some GDPR because we are based in Finland, after all. So we've completed our migration inventory. Now let's move on to the technical assessment phase. In the technical assessment, let's take a look at our database schema. So for this example, I'm not actually going to use the CLion app. I'm going to use a DDL that I pulled from an application from CERN. It's one of their open source DDLs. Let's see what that looks like. So you can see here, there's a few tables, there's some stored procedures, and there's some triggers. So let's go to our SQLines MariaDB assessment tool. And I'm going to run our command, which is SQLines, and we're going to pull in the cern.sql. So it's SQLines minus s equals Oracle, minus t MariaDB Aura, minus a, and then the in file. So we'll hit enter. And that's it. We've created an assessment tool. So this report is now available to us. So here's the MariaDB migration assessment report. This report shows us now data types. It shows us that in our database we have different types of blobs, characters, integers, numbers, some varchars, some varchar2, which might be interesting to old hat MariaDB and MySQL users. Well, we support that with our Oracle compatibility layer. There's also some information on what requires evaluation. For example, dates from Oracle may not be exactly compatible with dates from MariaDB, if, for say, they have a time zone. We can also see some that don't require conversion. So for example, car or car1, and others that can be converted easily by some of our suggested tools. For example, number to int. We also see in this report functions. So built-in functions that are in use and whether they require evaluation. Functions we have in our schema. We see stored procedures that are in use, and then we see some statements. So this schema actually had a few selects, inserts, updates, and it tells us whether we need evaluation or not. There's also some procedural language statements, and we can see if they're supported by MariaDB or if they're not supported by MariaDB. We can see some of our built-in packages. For example, with Oracle, we're using DBMS output, and we can see cannot migrate as is. Well, MariaDB's been working to help our customers, so we do have some Oracle packages that may work with MariaDB or Oracle compatible packages, especially DBMS output, because that's really just outputting some text. So again, this MariaDB assessment report can be very useful to you, hand in hand with our migration inventory, where you understand the business use case of your application. You can now make a decision to move forward or not to move forward, and how you will run your tools going forward with your team. I hope that helps you with the assessment. Thank you.